2-question essay for the IELTS writing test. In this video, I'm going to teach you how to write this type of essay and how to avoid some of the mistakes people commonly make. I'm Mike Waddy. I've been an examiner in Adelaide and Taipei. I've graded over 10,000 essays. I've written books on IELTS. I've been an IELTS tutor for many years. I run an online writing correction service. This gives me a lot of insight and perspective into the different types of questions that occur in your test, some of the common mistakes people make, and the ideal structures that you can use to overcome some of these issues. In today's video, we're going to be looking at a 2-question essay. We can often recognize these because there will be 2 question marks, but not always. I'm going to teach you how to plan this type of essay, how to structure it effectively. I'm also going to present you with a sample task that you can have a look at. I'm going to break it down and explain it in detail so that you can understand how you can write this type of essay as well. Finally, I'll finish with a homework task. The value of doing the homework task is that you can check your understanding. I also have a writing correction service if you would like me to assess your essay for the 4 grading criteria and point out some of the problems and some of the things that you can do to increase your score. There's details below in the description to this video. In total, I've identified 6 different types of questions that you need to respond to. Today, we're looking at a standard 2-question essay. I also have another flavor that I'm making another video about, and that's a 2-question essay where one of the questions is about your opinion. You can see these 2 types of questions on your screen now. The first ones in blue at the top of your screen are the type we're looking at today, a standard 2-question essay. These are often things like reasons and solutions or problems and solutions. And then below it, you can see the other flavor, the 2-question essay where one of the questions is your opinion. The structure for that essay is essentially the same, but there are some subtle differences, some nuances that you need to address when you write this kind of task. So I'm making a separate video for that one. So let's look at today's sample task, and as usual, you should always look at these tasks from the perspective of having a topic and a question. So the topic is, due to advances in technology, working from home has become more popular. Now note with this topic that really the essential part is the working from home more popular. Technology is just an enabler. You're not really supposed to focus too much on the technology aspect. It's really the aspect of working from home. Now, our questions are, what are the advantages? What are the disadvantages? Now, this is a little bit similar to the last video I made about do the advantages outweigh the disadvantages? Or actually it was, do you think the advantages outweigh the disadvantages? Now, that was an opinion essay. This is not an opinion essay. There's no word you or you think in the instructions. And since there's no you shouldn't be using words like I, me, I. You want to write this essay from a neutral perspective. In terms of my plan, this time I'm going to have 4 main ideas. For the non-opinion essays, so the 2 opinion essays are the agree-disagree essays and the outweigh essays. For all the other types of essays, I go with 4 main ideas. And in this case, I'm going to have 2 advantages and 2 disadvantages. My advantages are more flexible because we can sort of structure our day as we please, and saves time. We don't have to travel to an office. And then my disadvantages are going to be motivation. It's difficult to motivate ourselves when we don't have a boss looking over our shoulders, right? And communication's more difficult. We can't engage with people face to face, so we lose important indicators of communication and feeling, such as body language. I strongly suggest that when you're planning this essay that you have 2 main ideas for each question, and make sure they kind of fit together, or at least in this case, don't contradict each other. So, for instance, we don't want to have an advantage saves time and then a disadvantage wastes time. That wouldn't be so great. So, wastes time, I'm sort of putting under motivation. We could lose time, we could kind of goof off and be surfing the internet instead of working because we don't have anybody watching us. Now, the structure for all the non-opinion essays are fairly similar. We want 4 paragraphs in total. We're going to have an introduction. We're going to have a body paragraph for the first question with 2 main ideas in it. Then we're going to have a body paragraph for the second question with 2 main ideas in it, and then a conclusion. By the way, if you've been following these videos, you might sort of start to see a pattern emerge in the way that I teach. I like to give you the structure that you need to answer these questions. And I think if you have the right structure, it's going to make actually writing the essay easy. This kind of reminds me of kind of gift that I received as a child. It was called Paint by Numbers, and you're given a blank painting and some colors, and what you have to do is paint according to the numbers. The instructions tell you what color each thing should be, and so it's kind of easy to come up with an attractive painting where the colors fit together well. And that's the same sort of thing that we're trying to do here. We're trying to write an essay where the different parts fit together well. We want our introduction to do 2 things. 1, paraphrase the topic. 2, introduce what the essay is about, which means responding to the question words, which means telling the reader that our essay is about advantages and disadvantages. Let's take a look. Home-based work has become prevalent due to developments in technology. This essay discusses the merits and drawbacks of this phenomenon. We're going to write the body paragraphs for this essay different to how we did the opinion essay. With the opinion essay, we had 1 idea per paragraph, and we put that idea in our topic sentence. Now, with this type of essay, we've got 2 main ideas per paragraph. So this time, our topic sentence is going to be a general sentence that introduces what the paragraph is about, or more precisely, which question we're responding to. This is really important. The examiner is looking for you to respond to each question. We can make it easy for the examiner by writing a topic sentence that clearly indicates which of the 2 questions we're responding to and what the paragraph is therefore about. Then we're going to want to introduce our first idea, develop that through explanation and or example, and then our second idea, and to develop that. So let's have a look at our paragraph then. Let's start with the topic sentence. There are 2 main benefits of working from home. Now that I've introduced what the paragraph is about, I'll go on to my first idea. The first of these is that this work mode is more flexible. Now I'll go on to explain this. If someone works from home, they can make their own schedule, unlike being tied to office hours in a traditional job. Now I'll give an example to illustrate my point. For instance, I work online building websites and often work at night because I find this is the best time I can concentrate. Now I want to go on to my second idea, and I need to use a linking phrase. I'm going to use the word furthermore and then introduce my second idea. Furthermore, it saves a lot of time. The reason for this is that less time is wasted in traffic to go to an office. Therefore, there is more time for non-work activities. Okay, so I introduced my second idea, saves a lot of time, and then I developed it. Now we're going to want a body paragraph to deal with the second question, the disadvantages. We're going to start this paragraph with a linking phrase to send a signal to the reader that we're now switching to the disadvantages. We're going to use the word however. This indicates contrast to the reader. And then we're going to indicate that the paragraph is about the disadvantages. I'm going to use the word drawbacks to paraphrase this. Let's have a closer look at the paragraph. However, there are also drawbacks to this. The most significant is that it can be difficult to be motivated. This is because no boss is looking over the workers' shoulders. For example, I often find I waste a lot of time surfing around the internet because nobody can see I am doing this. Another limitation is communication between colleagues is more challenging. This is due to not meeting face-to-face and having to communicate online. This can lead to less effective communication and even misunderstanding of co-workers' real intentions. Then you're going to want to write a concluding paragraph. It's incredibly easy for this type of essay. All you need to do is write one sentence to summarize the two advantages and one sentence to summarize the two disadvantages. Of course, you're going to be paraphrasing. And just remember that when it comes to advantages, we can use words like merits, benefits, positive aspects. And when we're talking about disadvantages, we can use words like drawbacks, downsides, and negative aspects. I start my conclusion by signaling it's the conclusion with the phrase in conclusion. In conclusion, the advantages of working from home are that our schedule is more flexible and it saves time. The disadvantages are that it often leads to lower levels of motivation and difficulties in communication. I'll put the whole essay on the screen now. You might like to pause if you want to take a read through the essay, or you could download the PDF from the link below in the details, and then you could read the entire essay off that. Let's look now at a couple of issues that often arise with this type of essay. I'm going to use some other topics and questions to illustrate these. First of all, let's imagine the topic is global warming and the questions are to write about the causes and solutions. So in this case, we have a couple of excellent causes, cars and farming. What wouldn't be a great cause is rising sea levels. That's really an effect of global warming rather than a cause. So in this case, it wouldn't be something we would put in our essay. So make sure you check your instructions carefully and think about it carefully, because I've seen many times people write about effects instead of causes, or if the question's about effects, they write about causes. Be really careful that you're responding to the right words in the question. Issue 2, mismatch between questions. For Band 7, certainly for Band 8, we want our questions to fit together. We want our causes to fit with our solutions. Imagine the topic is still global warming and we have two causes, cars and farming. And here it's mostly beef, but basically animal farming causes a lot of methane or gas, and this is very bad for the environment. It causes global warming. So then if we have solutions of education into not eating meat, about vegetarian diets, and planting more trees, in this case our solutions don't fit well with our causes. And this is because we've said nothing about cars. We should really have something about encouraging people to use public transport by the government providing funds so that public transportation can become more convenient. So the problem with the solutions are neither of them address the issue of cars. And to address the issue of cars, we should have something about the government increasing public transportation or putting a tax on petrol to encourage people to not want to drive their cars. Another common issue are what I call empty solutions, where you give a solution but it doesn't include the implementation or how this is actually going to happen, how things are actually going to change or be solved in the future. So if we've got this idea of cars causing global warming, a solution like people should drive less, it's really not great. And the reason why it's not great is, yes, people should drive less, but they're not. They don't. They're driving a lot at the moment. And so in order for this to be a solution, we have to come up with some kind of action that the government could take. It could be something like the government should increase the tax on petrol to force or persuade people to drive less, right? So we need to make it clear how things will change in the future. Often the solutions can involve some kind of action by the government or some type of education to teach people about how they can do things better. So today's homework is to read the model answer to this type of question. Make sure you download the PDF. That'll make it easy for you to read the whole essay and think about how it's structured. Then I suggest you do the homework question in the PDF. This will help you to check your understanding. The homework topic is, nowadays many people choose to be self-employed rather than work for a company or organization. Why might this be the case? What could be the disadvantages of being self-employed? Now, after you've written your essay, you might like to send the essay to me for me to check it and check your understanding and assess your essay in terms of what score it could get, and also give you some useful feedback about how you might increase your score. If you're interested in that, have a look in the description to this video. I've put a link there that tells you about my writing correction service. I'll also put a link in the description to my writing ebook. You might be interested in that. And also to model answers on my website. You might like to see more model answers. I've got 6 in the PDF. I've got loads of others up on my website that you can look at for all sorts of questions, especially for the Cambridge series of books. Finally, please subscribe to me. This way you'll get notified of upcoming videos as I release them, and like the video if you enjoyed it. Best of luck with your studies and preparation.